brothers claim they were wrongfully beaten and tased outside of their Algiers home by a group of Jefferson Parish deputies.
Part of the incident was captured on cell phone video. Tonight, the NOPD and the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office are investigating the actions of the deputies involved. The story from Natasha Robin.
At that point, when we coming around the corner of the house, I hear the screaming.
Brothers Sean and Casey Warren claim Jefferson Parish deputies tased and beat them outside of their Algiers home early Monday morning. The alleged beating, they say, happened after an incident on the Crescent City connection involving Casey Warren. Warren says it all started when he noticed a brown sedan following very closely behind him.
Literally, I just let off the gas and I slowed down to literally, I was about 10 miles an hour and I stepped on the brakes, came to a complete stop, dead center of the GNO. I rolled down the window, looked out the window, and I said, "Man, what is your problem?"
Casey doesn't want us to show his face, but he says the man got out of the car and approached him.
He pulls out a gun and says, "Get out of the car." And I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm a detective." I said, "For who?" He said, "Jefferson Parish." I said, "We're in Orleans Parish."
Casey says the man was driving an unmarked car, dressed in plain clothes, and never showed him a badge. Casey says he didn't know exactly what was going on, and he was so scared he took off and drove back to this house in Algiers. After arriving, Casey says minutes later, the man pulled up in front of his house too and parked across the street. Soon after that, he says 4 marked JPSO units arrived.
And they said, "You need to step outside." Who was driving the Camaro? I said, "I don't know. You just woke me out of my sleep. What's going on?" And he said, "Either you get on the ground or I'm going to tase you."
Casey says he was cooperating and got down on his knees in front of the deputy when he says the deputy tased him.
As soon as I'm on my hands and knees, just like this, I get hit in top of my head. I fall to the ground. I'm handcuffed. They drag me outside. I come over here. I'm laid in the grass again. Handcuffed. I'm getting punched in my ribs. I get hit in my face a couple times on top of my head, and I get tased in my back.
Just about that time, Casey's brother, Sean, pulled up and says he heard the commotion.
At this point, they're bringing Casey to the squad car in front of this house, and that's when you'll see the video. The videos taking place, because it takes place right there. I got him, Casey. I got him. I had him on camera with him.
Sean pulled out his cell phone and started recording.
You'll see the 2 deputies. If you're putting Casey in the car, and like I said, Casey, you really have to listen, because Casey will say, "You know, why you hit me?" I got him on camera with this. Casey, just chill out, Casey.
The video goes to black when Sean says he was tased by one of the deputies. And then he claims another deputy punched him in the face before he was wrestled to the ground.
My lip. You can still see the inside of my lips.
The brothers, both in their 30s, say NOPD officers did show up on the scene after someone inside of the house called 911.
The commander of the 4th District, Brian White, showed up. You could tell the whole mood had changed, because now it went from JPSO to now NOPD.
Quite honestly, flabbergasted, because I've never seen or heard of Jefferson Parish or any other parish actually invading another parish.
Sonny Armand is the attorney representing both brothers, and he's also their stepdad. Armand says that night, neither Sean nor Casey were arrested.
And then the next day, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's deputies, well, actually NOPD arrived. They actually received a warrant from Jefferson Parish for Casey for reckless operation and resisting arrest flight from an officer.
The NOPD and JPSO are now conducting a joint investigation into exactly what happened. A spokesperson for the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office tells Fox 8 they're not commenting until the investigations are complete.
Either there was a failure of training or the officers just don't care. And I would like to think it's the former rather than the latter.
The brothers say they were both medically treated for their injuries, and Casey says he's still experiencing headaches from being tased on the top of his head. They tell us they've been interviewed by the NOPD, and they are cooperating with investigators. John.
All right, Natasha. New Orleans police want people to keep an eye out for